Picture that we were describing a while ago. Look at the Ford Explorer. Its windows are already blown out. This is the gunman after he came out of the...
February 28, 1997, was a sunny Friday morning in North Hollywood, Los Angeles, like any other. The streets were bustling with activity, and the North Hollywood Bank of America branch stood in quiet repose, its customers oblivious to the impending storm of violence that would soon engulf them. On that fateful day, the city would witness one of the most dramatic and harrowing events in its history.
Picture that we were describing a while ago. Look at the Ford Explorer. Its windows are already blown out. This is the gunman after he came out of the bank. This is the first of two gunmen that shot it out with police, and we're showing you this again to give you an idea of the type of firefight that took place about 9:50 this morning, about 50 minutes after these bank robbers were confronted. Now, this is the gunman. He's crouching. He starts to walk away almost nonchalantly, but look at him with his AK-47. Now he's starting to open up.
The North Hollywood shootout. It all began with a plan conceived in the shadows. Larry Eugene Phillips Jr. and Emil Mătăsăreanu, two men with criminal backgrounds, were about to launch a meticulously orchestrated bank robbery that would send shockwaves through the city. Larry and Emil were not your typical bank robbers. They were heavily armed, equipped with body armor, and had a plan that involved not only taking money but also holding off the police in a fierce battle.
Police, he's firing at police who are across the street in a parking lot. Now, he's walking. This is what makes me think he had body armor on, because this is a guy who is almost nonchalant in the way he's walking around
Very
in that
casual.
parking lot.
And sort of indiscriminate firing.
A clip full of bullets. He just sets down. Now he's changing. Another clip, pulls it out of what looks like an ammunition pack, puts another clip in there, and he's getting ready to do the same thing over again. Now you see the white car? The white car is the getaway car. Here is another pack over in the handicap parking in the bank. We don't know what was in there, but he comes out shooting across the top of the car.
Their choice of weaponry was chilling. Fully automatic assault rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Enough firepower to rival a small army. At around 9:17 a.m., the two robbers stormed into the North Hollywood Bank of America branch, brandishing their weapons and barking orders at the terrified customers and employees. Panic ensued as the robbers filled their duffel bags with cash, making off with thousands of dollars in minutes. Their swift and brazen robbery was over almost as soon as it began. As the alarm bells rang inside the bank and the first calls to 911 were made, the police were alerted to the unfolding situation. Officers from the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, were dispatched to the scene, setting the stage for a showdown that would soon grip the nation's attention. Phillips and Mătăsăreanu had no intention of surrendering quietly.
See the firing from inside the car? That's the second gunman. He throws something out. They're using this getaway car as cover as they fire at police who are all taking cover across the street.
As well as residents and people who happen to be shopping in the area, just hit the ground.
We heard one of the people in the bank, or was just entering the bank when this was taking place, people were still lining up at the ATM machines when this was beginning to take place. I presume by this time they had all taken cover. But now he starts to try to get in.
They burst out of the bank, firing their automatic weapons into the air to keep bystanders at bay. Their getaway vehicle was a white Chevrolet Celebrity, and they wasted no time in hitting the gas. The ensuing high-speed chase was nothing short of a Hollywood spectacle. Sirens wailed, helicopters hovered overhead, and police cars pursued the robbers through the streets of North Hollywood. It was a scene straight out of an action movie, but this was very much real. As the robbers careened through residential neighborhoods, they fired indiscriminately at pursuing officers. The police were outgunned and outmanned, and their pistols and shotguns were no match for the robbers' military-grade weaponry.
It's almost as if they're firing, but they're lost. They don't know what to do. And now, the getaway car with the one gunman inside starts to leave. Here's the second gunman. He's on foot. Perhaps they feel that they have a better chance if the gunman drives and the other gunman provides tactical cover. This is almost a military type of tactical situation. These guys act as if they have had military training. I only say that because if you're in the car, you're vulnerable. If somebody's walking along the side of the car, using the car as cover and firing as he is, it keeps the heads down of police across the street.
Officers desperately radioed for assistance and reinforcements. News of the unfolding shootout spread quickly, and residents cowered in their homes or fled in fear as bullets whizzed through the streets. The once peaceful North Hollywood neighborhood had transformed into a war zone. The shootout that followed was a harrowing battle of unequals. The robbers were heavily armored, their bodies covered in layers of Kevlar and military-style helmets. They used their assault rifles to unleash a hail of bullets upon the police officers who dared to challenge them. The LAPD officers, however, were ill-equipped to handle such a situation. Their handguns and shotguns were woefully inadequate against the robbers' firepower. Bullets ricocheted off the robbers' body armor as officers desperately sought cover behind cars and buildings.
Okay, keep going. We're going to go a little further, he is probably saying. I'm only guessing. But then he moves over to what looks like another car. I remember watching this. Again, this is about 9:50. And he moves over behind another car. Was this another getaway car?
Gene, if I remember correctly, when we heard from Armando Jimenez, he said that there were two cars that pulled up in front of that bank.
So this could be another one. But the gunman, now you see, this is a police car, one of the first arriving police cars. Its windows are already blown out. Now, the gunman is over by the brown car. He continues to fire and walk. There's still fire coming from the gunman inside the car. The two of them are walking around, spraying the entire neighborhood, keeping heads down. Now he's starting tactically to move away.
Amidst the chaos and danger, stories of heroism began to emerge. Ordinary citizens and police officers alike displayed extraordinary courage. Some officers, despite their limited firepower, continued to engage the robbers, providing their colleagues with crucial moments to regroup and strategize. Others evacuated injured civilians and provided first aid. One officer, Martin Whitfield, commandeered a civilian's car to use as a makeshift shield, allowing him to get closer to the robbers. He fired round after round, determined to stop the rampage. Officers Tracy Angeles and Stuart Guy also displayed remarkable bravery, holding their ground against overwhelming odds. Realizing the dire situation, the LAPD urgently requested assistance from specialized units equipped with more powerful weapons.
And down the road, firing the AK-47 as he goes. Now, as he goes behind this, you can see the smoke from the magazine of the AK-47, but he's gone for a long time here, and when he comes back, he's lost the AK-47, probably jammed or ran out of bullets. He crouches down. Now when he comes out again, and it's going to be at the other side, he has a pistol. Now, the gunman in the car has already gone down the street. We're going to lose him in a minute. We'll get back to him in a minute. But they're going to come back in this picture, courtesy of KCAL TV, by the way, Channel 9. Our helicopter at that point had to refuel, was over at Burbank Airport. KCAL provided these pictures. The way the car is flopping around, it looks like the tires were shot out. Now, the gunman we've lost between the bushes and the semi-truck, he starts to come out again.
SWAT teams, armed with rifles and tactical gear, rushed to the scene. They brought with them the firepower needed to confront the heavily armored robbers. The arrival of the SWAT teams marked a turning point in the battle. With their training and superior weaponry, they began to gain ground against the robbers, forcing them to retreat and take cover behind their getaway vehicle. The standoff between the police and the robbers lasted nearly 44 minutes, but it felt like an eternity to those involved. The robbers, realizing they were trapped, continued to exchange gunfire with the police. The air was thick with the acrid smell of gunpowder, and the deafening roar of automatic weapons echoed through the streets. The standoff ended abruptly when one of the robbers, Larry Phillips, turned his weapon on himself, taking his own life. Emil Mătăsăreanu, though severely wounded, continued to resist arrest, but he was eventually subdued by the SWAT teams. As the smoke cleared and the adrenaline began to subside, the full extent of the devastation became apparent.
The AK-47 is no longer there. He has a revolver or an automatic pistol. He comes out. You see the police officer. You see bystanders running, for one thing. And here's a police officer coming around the corner. Now, this is one of those moments of valor we were just talking about. He is confronting, the other gunman in the car has already driven down the street. Now, he's confronting this gunman between the bushes and that truck. Standing there, weapon ready, the gunman comes out. I understand we don't have the shot of where he's actually shot here. We'll see if we do. But anyway, these are the officers that are have done everything they can.
Numerous police officers and civilians had been injured in the shootout, and the neighborhood bore the scars of the battle. The nation watched in shock as news reports detailed the violent confrontation. The North Hollywood shootout became a symbol of the need for law enforcement to be equipped and prepared to handle heavily armed criminals. The North Hollywood shootout had a profound and lasting impact on law enforcement in the United States. It served as a wake-up call, prompting police departments across the country to reassess their tactics and equipment. The incident led to significant changes, including the acquisition of more powerful weapons, enhanced training, and improved coordination between law enforcement agencies. As the city of Los Angeles and the nation came to terms with the traumatic events of that day, they also mourned the loss of police officers who had made the ultimate sacrifice. Officers Loren Farrell and Martin Whitfield, who had bravely confronted the robbers, were both critically injured but survived. However, Detective James Boravin was seriously wounded in the shootout and succumbed to his injuries 2 months later. The North Hollywood shootout of 1997 stands as a stark reminder of the dangers that law enforcement officers face and the unpredictable nature of criminal acts. It was a day of chaos, courage, and sacrifice, one that would leave an indelible mark on the history of the LAPD and law enforcement across the nation.
To keep these gunmen in sight long enough that they can engage them. Now you see the gunman. He's coming out from behind that truck. There he is, walking. He sees the police officers as he comes. We missed it. Okay.
Well, we're going to bring you up to date.
He is shot and killed within about 4 seconds after that. He fires at them, they fire back and kill him.
You saw that all happening live.
Yeah.
Incredible. As we told you, this has been a very fluid situation. It started at 9 o'clock this morning at the Bank of America in North Hollywood. It was described by Commander Tim McBride as a takedown robbery at 9 a.m. We know at this point that
joined at the officer positions across the street behind the bank. Then he makes his way back into the white car to make his escape. Now, at some point during all of this, we heard